Welcome back to On Right Podcast here. You have Elijah alongside Grant. We're getting into Michigan, snuck one out, pulled one out versus Illinois. Very tough fought game. What was I think? Final score was 19-17. I'm just kind of going to throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah.
Obviously we're not going to talk too much about what's coming down the pipe here, but what are your thoughts? Kind of tailing off, putting a bow tie on this part of the season.
Yeah. So I think I think overall, they're good and bad overall, right? I mean, it definitely shows that we have a lot more we can improve on as a team. As we go into, this kind of like the championship part of the season. I get to give a good name for it, so I'm gonna call it. You love how, you know, defense did what they need to do to get us the ball back to, kick the game winning field goal. It wasn't pretty, but JJ, he stood in there and really just amidst losing, star running back and, not having Donovan Edwards, just down a lot of starters in different places. He stuck in there and did what he needed to do in order to help to get that victory. Um, I say all in all, you got to tip your hat to Illinois as well. I told you before you jumped on here, I feel like, we like that was like we saw like we put like a mirror of ourselves this week. A team that has, that running back, he ain't no slouch. Illinois, I think they're top three, top five or something like that in scoring defense or total defense. So I think we did what we had to do. It was a, bad weather game, 30-mile-an-hour winds, just a lot wasn't going our way. We could have laid down, I think in previous years, we might have, lost that game 17-16 just because we wouldn't have got that fourth and short that we ended up getting in order to extend the drive. So I just think we just pulled it out how we needed to. And you like to see that, as your team's kind of having that championship, like grit, like that pedigree. But, just some concerns with injuries going forward as we, prepare for, what's bound to happen this weekend.
Yeah, so I think we've been fortunate where although we've lost players like we were down arguably the best tight end, definitely top 2, 3 tight end in the Big Ten all season, other than the first game or two.
Yeah.
We've had injuries when coming off the Michigan State game with some players that didn't play after what happened in the tunnel. We've had, Edwards has been banged up more or less every
Half
other
the season.
game. Yeah. So, it's, we found a way to fight, but I think what we found out quickly was when you take Quorum out of the equation, or just take Quorum out of the equation versus this team in particular, who plays tough nosed defense, whose defensive line is fairly stout. They came to play and they can control the ball, and there's as far as they run the ball as well. I think you've seen teams that I haven't seen teams kind of break one and run on us like that this year so far.
Yeah.
So overall, it was, I don't know, gut wrenching to kind of watch it throughout. I was nerve wracking, saying, "Damn, this is what it's going to come down to." We're going to lose to Illinois the week before
Yeah.
the week before we play Ohio. On the subpar team, they lost to Michigan State. I'm just all of these things are going through my head, and but overall, I think we showed exactly what a championship caliber team would do.
Yeah.
And that is, we kicked the field goal, 3 minutes and some change to go, went, relied on the defense 3 and out. We got the necessary yards we needed to get our best kicker in the country in range.
Mm-hmm.
He hit a shot. That was that. I think that's relying on all three facets of the game, all three units of the game, stepping up, doing what they have to do in like a 3 minute drill type situation. So that was phenomenal to see, and I was very excited. I was yelling and shouting, waking up my wife, waking up my dog. It was I was getting hype in here, and I do think that's something that the team, obviously, you don't want to ever have to win or be that close, but I think this is something that the team probably needed. We haven't had um, things have gone our way, and more or less they did not. Nothing was going our way until the last couple of drives that game. Whether it's Andrew Anthony dropping what would be a 50-yard touchdown bomb. I
Mm-hmm.
think he was hearing footsteps. I think he thought that safety was going to blast him. He wanted nothing to do with that. That was a drop. Whether it was man, I'm already forgetting his name, but number 41, the freshman that we were just talking about,
Isaiah Gash. Yeah.
Nash. He dropped him dropping the ball. With what right before we kicked that field goal, it's probably 4 minutes to go. That same exact play, JJ missed Loveland in the back for a touchdown. I just think there was lots of things that we could have looked to and got disappointed and lost that game, but we did.
Right.
So overall, I do think that that's what a championship team would do is they would go out and win that gritty game, and 1917 is what it is, 11-0, and survive in advance.
Right. I think it's just a hard fought, like, Big Ten late November type type victory. I mean, I feel like you get a little you get a little spoiled, right? We watch them just kind of dismantle everybody the entire season. I mean, we haven't seen the last close game we saw them have was the Maryland game, to where they won that game by like 8 points or something like that. I mean, yeah, I just think it's one of the situations where you look at the bad and you kind of understand. I feel like the bad was more the miscues, a couple drop big time drop balls, a couple error passes here and there. But I think it's you also understand too, like, yeah, I mean, we just didn't have quite a few of our key guys out there. So I know a lot of those things would have went our way that didn't go our way in those situations too. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, that kick, it might be a situation where Moody got to come and hit one like that. Could be this upcoming weekend. Could be, Big Ten Championship, whatever that looks like, in the future. So I just think it's important to, have this type of victory, stash away under your belt and, learn from it. And, you know, yeah, I would just say overall, you got to even be proud too of just how JJ was able to just kind of stand in there and, um, I talked about a little bit earlier, but just do what he had to do. I think that's huge for him to be a sophomore. I mean, I think about that one play he had where fumbled the snap. He could have just jumped on it and fell and just kind of took it, but he, got up and made a play out of it. I mean, that's something that, we've seen him do just something similar to that a couple of different times this year. So you like how he responded because it was, adverse situations. I mean, kind of like it made me think about how when Mike Hart went down, during the Indiana game, it kind of started just hitting us in the mouth here and there after that happened. And, Blake Corum thing happened and kind of deflated the team. But I like how they were able to, respond and just turn around and just, do what had to be done to pull out the victory.
Yeah, no, I think I'm just gonna talk about that JJ play in particular. That was a phenomenal play, and I think that's the difference of why he is the starter. And that's something I kept saying out loud to myself while watching the game. Prove to us why we named you the starter. And I think he did that. That play was a phenomenal play. He was making the timely pass. I do think the way they came out in the second half, or after, I personally didn't see Blake's one carry in the second half. I must have been tripping.
I didn't see it either.
But yeah. But with that being said, I think they made a concerted effort that we're going to change this offense up a little bit, and JJ just did what he had to do. So overall, I'm just satisfied we won. I think there's a few other things we could have did to make it not that close of a game. Talking to Andrew Anthony, talking to JJ as far as maybe hit Loveland on that tight end pass. But I know what he was thinking on that. But you have to go to a guy who, a risk reward as far as a guy who's been sure-handed for you the last couple of games, and a guy who hasn't had more than 10 snaps in the season. So,
right.
Yeah, it is what it is. I think
Yeah, and I think one thing, give one thing that is a little bit of a concern, and it's just like, I mean, people kind of say like that it must be the whole line as to why Corum and Edwards are having such successful seasons. Not to say they struggled at all. It just shows like that there's a little bit of concern, I'd say, with the play calling, like diversity in the play calling, because after Corum went out, I felt like we were still just trying to run it right up the middle. They kind of took that away from us. You had some of them guys kind of bouncing outside, and Even some of the pass plays. I mean, I even say even towards before we kicked that field goal. You know, um, they like JJ took a couple throws. One of them got tipped, could have got intercepted. Another one was just
For sure.
kind of in that area where if the DB made a better play or maybe saw the ball, could have made a play on it. Um, there he was he's playing around a little bit. I think I saw him too like that secondary. They lead the team. That defense they lead the conference or the country in like interceptions. So like they already kind of knowing the ball hawk a little bit, and I feel like he was kind of playing with fire there. But I just didn't really love what I was seeing towards the end there too. But the most important thing is we got out of there. You know, got the victory. We're just at the point of the season where we need to continue to survive and advance, and just do what's necessary to get to this weekend.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anything else you want to say about that?
That's all I got as far as Michigan.
No, I agree. Go blue. And I think just transitioning to something that we're both very surprised about.
Yeah,
Pleasantly surprised, I would say. And that's the Detroit Lions. Must have another victory. Beat the Giants on the road. I believe that is my trip when I say three in a row.
yeah, that's it. Three in
Three
a
in a
row.
row. So I'm just gonna throw it over to you. I don't really, pleasantly surprise myself. You know, you know, what's
Yeah,
your thoughts?
yeah. No, I'm very surprised. I mean, you look you look at like these last three games, and how you notice how the defense is slowly improving. They made some pretty significant strides against the Packers. We know what the Packers are, but it's still a great division opponent. Bears kind of got cut up a little bit, gashed by Justin Fields a little bit, but still found a way to pull that one out. But today it was just, I mean, they put it all together. I feel like this is probably the first perfect game we played um, all season. I mean, part of me doesn't want to count that Commanders game because we were just giving up quite a bit of yards. Still, you know what I mean? Just, I mean, we dominated, but I still feel like the defense was still just kind of like getting thrown on, and they were still kind of getting up and down the field. Today, Dan Jones, he was able to kind of complete some. I think he did end up throwing for over 300 yards, but being able to shut down Saquon like that, I mean, that
Big
in
time.
itself, my man's is like got so you talking about him being in an MVP conversation, comeback player of the year. We know what kind of player he was. We in Big Ten country, we've seen Penn State, what he was able to do there. Um, but yeah, I mean, I love the game plan. We're like, hey, I mean, we knew they didn't have any receivers. Loaded the box up, and I even say too, like Daniel Jones finally kind of came back down to earth. At this, again, I feel like that, that's something too, where I feel like we made him look like Daniel Jones of old. Just not making great decisions. Throwing a ball here and there. Yeah, but I'd say put a nutshell. I mean, I love the run game. Defense showed them did what they did, and yeah, just a complete victory. I was very very shocked to see today.
Yeah, no, I think you when you say complete victory, I think that is key. I think it's shaping out that you beginning to see with some of these young guys playing on defense, stepping up with they got rid of Hawkinson and they're kind of leaning more on the run game and just some of the younger tight ends that we drafted recently are stepping up. You're beginning to see it kind of shape out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of how they want to play. And obviously you can't bank on getting two turnovers every game, but I think just having that defense in the right place at the right time, moving Hutch around,
Yeah,
he's a lot more active and he's it's starting to show. It's starting to show that he could be a very dynamic player. More than just bull-headed pass rusher. He can be dynamic in the run game, whether he's stopping players on the goal line. He can intercept Aaron Rodgers from the defensive line position. He can
yeah.
drop coverage here and get another one. I'm joking but be semi nimble and get a little, run a little
Yards after, yeah, that's big
yards
time.
at the catch. So, I think overall that Kirby Joseph, another big time play. He's making plays all over. He's a ball hawk. And I think you're beginning to see some of the seeds of probably a good draft from
Yeah,
last time around. And you're still missing a very very big piece of that, and that's Jameson Williams. Talk of bringing him back. I still don't know whether we should really bring him back with 4 games to go, but you are starting to win some games here. So, maybe that'd be a little extra juice for the offense. That is, I guess, a conversation to have. But overall, I think it was a great victory, and it's just exciting to see. We're probably looking at if he continues to somewhat anywhere near this trajectory, you're looking at JJ being, or sorry, not JJ. You're looking at Hutch being one of the best defensive linemen or probably definitely, I don't know, probably a handful of years here, probably one of the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Not often do you see couple of interceptions, 5 or 6 sacks. I think that's special. So
yeah. I think
a lot of times he was running himself out of plays, half the season. So, once he settled in, it's kind of special to see.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see just how he progresses, as we go along here. Through the rest of the season, starting to kind of figure things out. They're still winning, so I know it's going to help the confidence. But yeah, I think just overall, man, it's like they are able to get some people back on defense. They just look like a completely different team. I feel, some of those guys like Okora, the guy's name is Kaminsky. I mean, even Jerry Jacob. We just got depth now. So I just feel like, you're starting able to slowly work people in and out here and there. It still sucks we, don't have Walker, but now we're seeing we have in this rookie, Kirby Joseph. Even that D lineman, Aleem McNeil, I saw him making a couple different plays in the backfield, just really making it difficult for the Giants season to be able to do anything on the ground. Goff, I don't think he didn't throw a pick today. I don't know, just a lot of positives, just like we didn't get in our own way. And it was even a point in time where, I looked over at my girlfriend, I'm like, oh man, this looks great, but it's 24-6. You know what I'm saying? So like middle of the third, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah, anything can happen. Yeah.
They can still, but I think not too long after that, they got that pick. I think they're able to kind of go down the field. They put together like a great drive to get up like 31-6, and really just kind of ran away with it. And able to just keep the Giants in check for the most part. I think they scored one more time after that, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, and I don't know whether somebody got to him or whether he's still kind of learning on the fly, but a better overall scheme from Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Kicking the field goal, I would say I don't want to be certain about this, but I don't think we've went forward on fourth in the last 3 games in the start of the game. Like we have been. Before we was going for it. We want a touchdown break. Touchdown to nothing. In first half of this, first 4, 5, 6 games of the year. I think more recently we've been, playing strategic football. Go ahead and get them points, and that's been paying off later on. I just think there's a couple of that, and I want to say whether it was right before a half, put together just a great half. I think Daniel Jones, they were should have probably killed the clock, but they wanted to run up, and then they snapped it, and then I just think there's moments like that where maybe we would have coughed up the field goal there, or cost ourselves, and that was a big time. I was kind of looking at that moment where I was like, damn, it's still, I don't know. In myself, I thought they were going to find a way to cost ourselves there, but we didn't. We kind of put, we locked in, put the clamps on a little bit, and ended the half well. So
yeah,
I think little tiny victories like that.
Right. I was gonna say too, just even giving credit to Dan Campbell. Like I think I don't care what anybody says. It was. I truly feel like that first quarter, that first drive, when we it was 4th and 2, we just came out and kicked that field goal because they came down and scored. There's a big difference between being down 6-0 and like 6-3.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like, and they even said on the broadcast, and I jokingly told myself like, it took Dan Campbell this many weeks to kind of realize going for it on 4th was, it can give your team confidence, but it can also be demoralizing when you're continuing to go forward on 4th and just inopportune situations and you're not getting it. But I just think that alone, you get some points on the board. Like even though it's only 3, those are still points in the NFL as far as I've been told, as far as I know, still. So I just think him just kind of dialing it back on those type of things. Run game was strong. I think we just plays a very complimentary football. I think that was that. I think it started off that first drive, as they had, and just being smart, being conservative, getting some points on the board. I think that just really kind of ignited everything from there.
You know, I completely agree with you. And the one thing I would say is, you got to use Swift a slightly different. I just feel like he's like a momentum back, and you got to get him a couple of carries. He's not a guy that I think you can have, you know, 6 carries in a game, and it's 2 or 3 on this drive, one on this drive, one on two on that drive. You know, I
He
just
leaves 15.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's when he's special. You know, I think even all those, I don't know what he had, probably 5 carries, what 16 yards came on 1 carry. So you know, I just think he's special when you know he has the opportunity to kind of read the scan the defense
Yeah.
and make it happen over time. You know, so I think you can use Williams as the bell cow around the goal line if you want a short yardage, but I think you know, you gotta let Swift dance and do what he can do, and kind of use both of them to their advantage.
Interesting development too. Just with like Swift, I mean, in the running back room as a whole. Now you got like Williams, kind of like the short yardage. I mean, he's kind of like the guy, the starter.
Yep.
He's getting the goal out of the goal line carries. Then you got Justin Jackson. Then he's play the Chargers a little bit. Solid player. I mean, I've seen him. He's been kind of like more of like the change of pace type back. It's just weird because it kind of went from 2 man. I mean, Swift was kind of leading the charge. He couldn't stay healthy. Now it's Williams. So that's just something to kind of monitor and just look at it. I think it's working now, which is awesome. But I agree. It's something to look at it like going forward because I do feel like Switch is one of those guys. I mean, if he's healthy, you gotta, if he's out there, I think we gotta find a way to get the ball in his hands more, especially if he's getting to this stretch of the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, he's the X factor. You know, I think the rest of them
Yeah,
are the guys, but he's the guy. You know, at any point it could be, you know, he could take it to the crib. So
yeah,
yeah, no, I agree. You know, definitely. You know, it's a lot better conversation when when we're winning these games, and you know, so you know what. I don't know. I'm not trying to get into playoff conversation here, but you know, I think if you can possibly beat the Bills, and you know, I'll be full steam ahead here.
yeah. I would, yeah. I mean, I would say that's probably the last loss you can afford.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of where. I mean, however this might go, we won 3 in a row. We were dead in the water a month ago, and now the tides kind of turned also to see that team, that Buffalo team, and we'll get into it more obviously later on this week. But they look a lot more beatable than they are now. But I feel like this is like that last, got to be able to string together, get some help too. But I mean, if they can continue what they did today. Um, you never know. And I guess we just look to see and figure out what they can pull out the rest of the season here. I'm still more on like the 6 wins side of the house, but
I agree.
they definitely, there's a couple more winnable ones that they could possibly steal from here on out.
I agree. Take the under. Under six. No. But no, you got anything else for people? We'll be back at it Wednesday. You know, what week it is. It's Ohio week.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. So you got anything else for people?
that's all I got. Talk to you later on this week.
Yes, sir. Peace.